Welcome now to Belmore Sports Ground for the match of the day, Canterbury versus Newcastle, and a chance for the Bulldogs to go to the top of the table jointly with St George if they are victorious this afternoon. Let's have a look at their team card. Newcastle coming out, we'll have a look at them as well in just a moment. And the most important game for the Knights, it's do or die. They're on 8 points in the Winfield Cup, and a victory absolutely essential today. Let's have a look at the Bulldogs side now, and there it is from top to bottom, with Brokenshire out and Mitch Newton coming into the run-on side. Terry Lamb in charge in the number 6 jumper, Polla-Mounter at half, and that's where their strengths will lie. And the big clash, of course, today, the awaited clash since the state of origin of Martin Bella and Paul Harrigan. Talking of Harrigan and Newcastle, let's have a look at the Knights lineup. And it's O'Davis at the back. In fact, it's exactly the same side as the one that defeated Parramatta a couple of weeks ago. Good crowd in attendance here, probably around about 12,000. Very breezy day. It's coming across the ground from behind the commentary side, the grandstand side, and blowing directly across into the face of the people on the hill area. Bill Harrigan is the referee, and he's got back the number 1 job, so it appears. Newcastle will run left to right, and the breeze, though it's across the ground, it may just favour them slightly in the first. And that's the confrontation that a lot of people have come here to see. All Harrigan and Martin Bella after their dust up in state of origin. I doubt that it will eventuate. Mitch Newton, the replacement front row forward for Canterbury, kicks off. And joining me in commentary for this match is Peter Still.
As you pointed out, Ray, essential that Newcastle are going to be a semi-final contender this year. They win this game. An infamous match, the confrontation from last year. This is the game that Terry Lamb kicked a field goal as the first mistake goes against Newcastle and Martin Bella gets out of dummy half. He kicked the field goal in the last 2 minutes to make it 12-11.
Canterbury on the attack then. 20 metres away from the Newcastle line. Mitch Newton parcelled up. Michael Hagan it was that took the ball up for Newcastle, and it came out. He looked as though he was expecting a penalty. Canterbury now with a forward pass 20 metres out from the line, and it came from Dean Pay. A let off for Newcastle. This is the forward pass coming up there. Back on the 20-metre line. Scrum fed by Martin. He comes away. Goes about 7 metres. Trying to get up and play the ball. He was forced back down again. 9 times out. Oh, what a tackle!
Oh, Kiwi on Kiwi there. Tony Kemp hit in a cracker from Jared McCracken. You won't see a better front-on tackle than that one. Absolutely magnificent.
Now the big men decide to get together. Harrigan put down. McCracken eating up work at the moment. That's Rodney Howe in the 8 jumper. Martin, with that breeze at their back, fractionally in the first half, he decides to boot it down the ground for Doolan, but Doolan is pulled down 11 metres out from his own line. Luke Goodwin.
Jim Serdaris for Canterbury going into dummy half now, in some trouble out there, limping around. He didn't even go into dummy half. Brett Dallas made a good 10 metres. The hooker for Canterbury in some strife.
Bella wrestled down by David Boyd in the main in the headgear. Mitch Newton. Tremendous clash in reserve grade between the top of the table clubs. They finished 18 all. As their points for and against, and their points in the Winfield Cup may have indicated prior to the game. Played by Robbie O'Davis, and taking it out is Brad Godden. Newcastle 40 metres out from their own line. Oh, Jason Martin! Picked up and driven by Dean Pay. We've seen some classic tackling. John.
Oh, what about this one? Jason, beautiful tackle, just the momentum up and over. As on the last tackle, Newcastle go the blind side through Michael Hagan. Tries to find touch, he may not do so.
Yes, he did.
Jamie Ainscough was on the fly there. Tried to keep the ball in play. Some of the tackling in this game, this is how close it was. Ainscough, well, it touched the line, that's out. Now the scrum feet, 15 metres out.
Polla-Mounter. Bella, but Newcastle's inside the 10. Keep in mind the new rule applies from round 11.
And early in this game, referees are going to look to police that fairly strongly. What happens through this weekend, both sides should have paid attention to that.
Goodwin finding the line. Jim Serdaris. Now Martin Bella. Midway between the 20 and the halfway. Second man play for Mitch Newton. And he's back on the defence as he reaches them. Polla-Mounter. Terry Lamb. Connolly went one way, ran as the decoy. McCracken wrapped up. 35 out from the Newcastle line. Bad pass taken well by Lamb, picked up on the second bounce out wide by Darren Smith. They lost some ground. Darren Smith in the 11 jumper in the headgear, second row these days since the arrival of Connolly. Misunderstanding there in the Canterbury ranks. Goodwin comes up into the line, he puts the bomb in the air. Swirling breezes here at Belmore. Beautifully taken by Brad Godden. And Godden wrapped up 9 metres short of the halfway. Confident pick up from dummy half by Tony Kemp. But he's able to gain about 20 metres of ground. Away to the left for Johns. Short pass then for Glanville. Back, it's delivered, but Canterbury come up with it. Serdaris. Bella. Long pass, a shocker. Terry Lamb does his best. McCracken gives it back, and Dallas is held, but Harrigan ruling a knock on here against Terry Lamb.
The crowd don't believe so. They're probably a little bit biased, but Terry Lamb did everything he could possibly do to try and turn this into a knock back. And I think did a pretty good job of doing so. Dallas was away.
Johns. Kemp. Johns again. Around the back for Martin. Cut out pass. Beautifully delivered to Ainscough. Hagan. Through Johns. This is David Muir. Ball comes out. This will be a scrum. Harrigan looked long and hard at his touch judge on that occasion. That was the man that made the judgment, really. This is another angle. Just on a Canterbury foot may have been the culprit. Luke Goodwin wrapped up. It was said that he wouldn't be in first grade today, Luke Goodwin, but over events surrounding Scott Wilson, Goodwin got a reprieve. Goodwin got the reprieve in first grade.
Two of the very exciting running fullbacks in the game in Luke Goodwin and Robbie O'Davis. Davis was outstanding against Parramatta. Looking forward to both of them getting involved. Both teams do like to put on moves in their back lines. They do feature strongly, the number ones.
Dymock wrapped up by a defence that got up very quickly. This new rule that we're working under from round 11, it puts an extra strain on the stamina of players. And the longer this match goes, I get the impression the more it will suit Canterbury. At the moment, Newcastle's defence is coming up very quickly, stifling Canterbury's attack, but they can't keep doing it. Brad Godden. Ainscough away from dummy half. Lamb had a shot at him, came off second best. Penalty goes against Newcastle. Not striking the ball with the foot in the play the ball is the ruling. Well, that's a dumb penalty to give.
That was the right penalty as well. He did well, Ainscough, to make good ground out of dummy half. Undid all the good work. Just losing his technique. Very careless there.
We have $1 for the number of times that it happened, though. Goodwin finding the line precisely. 25 metres out. Now Bella comes storming onto it. Serdaris, Mitch Newton. They're 15 from the line. Lamb, Dymock, around the back, a shocker. Recovered out wide by Doolan, punched inside for Bella, on for Serdaris. Serdaris wrestled down by Matthew Johns. Dymock away. Lamb chips out wide for the backs. Dallas is coming quickly. It came off his foot. The touch judge giving Harrigan an indication, a bum steer really, that the ball went out on the full. He means out on the full off the boot of Dallas, or the leg of Dallas. Watch it. That's what he was trying to tell his centre man, but he gave him an awful bum steer. Harragon screaming at the Canterbury back line to get back their 5. Johns has wrapped up 15 out from his line. Tony Kemp. Glanville. The big fella, Harrigan. McCormack darting away from dummy. Now the last on this set coming up for the Newcastle side. Jason Martin drives it down the ground, looking for field position, finding Luke Goodwin, runs across to Brett Dallas's wing, delivers the pass when tackled. Dallas goes off his left foot, makes another 15 metres.
Goodwin was hurt in that piece of play there. He did very well, as did Brett Dallas. So often the winger does not get in a good position to support the fullback from kick returns. On that occasion, Dallas did very well. Ball back inside there to Polla-Mounter. He makes half a bust.
Canterbury starting to make some inroads into the Newcastle defence. They push it wide. Connolly pushes away from a would-be defender. Doolan goes for the corner, steps inside, throws the pass back. It goes loose. It may be play on. Yes, it is. Harrigan says Canterbury, play the ball. Out it comes now. Goodwin's with it. This is Jim Dymock inside for Darren Smith, and he's taken in a great tackle 10 metres from the line. Played back and away from Goodwin. To the blind side for Dean Pay. Now for Terry Lamb. Work back there for O'Davis, but it goes over the dead ball line.
Oh, great play, Robbie O'Davis. Knew how important it was for that ball to go dead. They didn't want to give another set of 6 to Canterbury, and he allowed it to go all the way through. This is a class act. Gary Connolly, good ball inside here to Doolan, and if Terry Lamb takes this pass here, he just about scores the try.
Back with the action direct, and it's a penalty to Newcastle. Holding down in the tackle was the ruling. 28 metres out from their own line in the centre of the ground, and Jamie Ainscough will kick the touch. Left-footed touch finder from Jamie Ainscough. Now the tap to be taken by David Boyd. Butterfield.
We'll see Newcastle just take it through the forwards here for a couple and probably go to their back line. And they do put on some great plays out in the back line as long as they don't labour the point. Plenty of second man running. They got that one wrong. Well, Harrigan wasn't expecting the football, but that's what you'll see. Plenty of bodies in motion. Harrigan a shake at the head. Just took his eye off the ball.
Newcastle most times will take it up with at least 2 forward players, and then they'll serve it wide to a forward out in the centres. Now the scrum win as expected for Canterbury. McCracken plays at Lamb as the dummy half. Polla-Mounter does a bit of dancing and showing the ball back inside. Slithers out of a tackle. Pulled down on the halfway mark. Bella. Serdaris. Pay. Polla-Mounter. Lamb. Shape for the cutout. Turned it inside. Dymock looks again for Lamb. Pulled down. 38 out. Goodwin. Out and away from dummy half. The markers chase him across the ground. Connolly leaps up, looks inside for his wingman. Doolan was there, but Connolly unable to unload. But Canterbury on the attack. They're looking good now. Mitch Newton, Terry Lamb. He's got players all over the park around him. He doesn't need them. The little champion goes all the way. Terry Lamb, 4 points again at Belmore. He loves playing here. Great little player. Scores the try with a huge dummy.
And it was set up by the previous couple of plays. Just too much defence required out there from Newcastle. A big dummy thrown, got outside one of the Newcastle forwards. But let's go back to the previous play where Canterbury just kept the ball alive. That gave Terry Lamb space to move in, but out of the despairing clutches of O'Davis to score. The damage had been done 10 metres out when he got through. This is where Canterbury were outstanding, keeping the ball alive. Pass back inside here to Dymock. Lamb again is there in support on the outside. And they were able to keep that going for another play or two, eventually running in the try.
So Terry Lamb scores his 4th try of the year. I think, and I'm right in saying that 3 of the 4 tries came in the one game. Against Parramatta, wasn't it?
No, against Manly here, I think, Ray, was it?
I knew if I was wrong, you'd correct me.
I'm not sure about that, but yes, he did score 3.
Right in front now. Well, just about right in front for Luke Goodwin. 12 metres out. Chance to extend the lead. Goodwin, no mistakes. Canterbury leading by 6 points to 0.
In fact, Ray, funnily enough, selecting that Parramatta copped the hands of Canterbury. All their tries were scored that day by the Canterbury backs. Terry Lamb was the only man not to score that particular afternoon.
I knew you'd have vivid memories of the game, that's why I thought
I do remember.
I just put a bit of Burley out there looking for it. Restart now for Jamie Ainscough. And he's penalised Newcastle for being in front of the kicker.
And I know it's a simple thing, but it doesn't happen enough. Players not paying attention. You'll see them trying to sneak half a metre here. Why not get back 2 metres behind and hit the halfway line on the run?
But the only thing that Bill Harrigan's done by that ruling, though, in fairness, he's now got to keep doing it through the day. Will he keep doing it through the day for line dropouts and the like?
Yes, he will.
You can have 10 to 1.
Okay.
Goodwin's kick for line is a pretty ordinary one. Luke looking dismayed. Jim Serdaris takes the tap. Through for Polla-Mounter, then Lamb, now McCracken. Was that a shade high from Butterfield? Bella. Look at that question I asked. No, it's okay. Dymock. Oh, good passing. Darren Smith for young Brett Dallas. And the young Canterbury winger put down. 10 metres out from the line. Here they come again. Terry Lamb for Jim Dymock. Out it goes along the line. Serdaris with a beautiful pass. Goodwin a handoff for Connolly. Connolly bundled unceremoniously over the line. But it was a great passing raid.
Oh, they look very fluid, Canterbury. Luke Goodwin nearly dropped the football and in one motion got it Gary Connolly. He wanted the man to come inside. Doolan read it too late. And he nearly ended up in the first row of the outer paddock.
You think you're at Rose Hill.
I'd like to be. Ray Voites is backing the winner there. Tony Butterfield will be penalised for that tackle. Coming all the way back. There's no doubt that it was a shoulder tackle. I think that's a tough decision. Let's have a look at it again. He's hit him in the shoulder. He didn't even go up that high. And 2 rucks later, after Canterbury had nearly scored a try, we come back for a kick at Golden. most likelihood.
You can't blame the touch judge for leaving it go that long.
Oh, Goodwin kicking for touch, sorry.
Well, that's a tough call on Newcastle. Luke Goodwin finds the line 25 metres out. 4-1, the penalties climbing to giant proportions percentage-wise against Newcastle. Polla-Mounter for Mitch Newton. Newton slammed into the ground. That was a very good tackle. It was Harrigan low and little Martin up the top. Polla-Mounter land, long pass, well picked up. Goodwin is in the back line again, and he's pulled down about 18 metres out from the line. Lambert acting half. First receiver, Polla-Mounter. Face ball across for Darren Smith. Turns to unload, but nobody supporting. So the second phase play broke down that time for Canterbury as they go right, and Dymock decides to take them on. Put down by Butterfield over the top of McCormack's tackle. Serdaris at ruck half. Oh, Terry Lamb. He's put it down, and he probably wouldn't do that more than once in an entire season. So he is human. That's a relief.
Yes, and you won't see that again this season, I wouldn't imagine. Terry Lamb again has been involved in everything out there. I agree with you in that previous penalty. Nothing against the touch judge coming on after a period of time, but I thought the penalty was a very tough one. Canterbury nearly scored. Now Newcastle get a penalty to relieve pressure, and they have spent a long time down here. John's trying to get up. Mitch Newton, the man penalised, knocking the ball out, coming over the top.
Ainscough taking the kick to touch. Towering torpedo punt, finds a lot of ground. Tap will be taken by David Boyd. Boyd taking the taps and not McCormack. Oh, Harrigan's done it again. He's having a horror game with his hands. Now across from Polla-Mounter to Dallas, and Godden wraps him up almost on the halfway mark. Dallas up and off again. Now, he's given the penalty to Canterbury for no marker, but I put a question to you, which way was Dallas facing?
Well, he moved off the mark as well, I think. We'll come in a little bit later. Brett Godden certainly offside. But I thought it was a penalty that could have gone either way. What about the hands from Terry Lamb after Harrigan dropped the football? Picked it up and let it go in one motion again. Canterbury, we see Harrigan. Now watch Lamb here. Bang. Straight away they've got an overlap.
And that pops them into top gear. Come back direct with Mitch Newton just outside the 20-metre line. 6-0 in favour of Canterbury. They've had most of the football and they've looked the more dangerous. Dymock with a barnstorming run. Dallas comes onto the ball, but he puts it down. Godden goes away for the Knights. Floats it across the face for McCormack. Then on for Matthew Johns. He tries to put the foot down, but he's tackled 33 metres out from his line. Hagan. Harrigan anxious to get the ball back in his hands. That's the quickest way to rectify a bad case of dropsy. Glanville capitalises on a quick play the ball. 40 metres from the Canterbury line now. The Knights desperate to score next. Boyd is making the point that he's taking the taps, the tap free. It allows McCormack to get to dummy half quickly on the first tackle. That's out on the full back for the scrum.
It's the breeze just catching that one. And the quality of the Canterbury attack's been shown by the fact that Newcastle do have a big breeze. Newcastle with that breeze just unable to capitalise on it. All the players been down their end of the field. Canterbury playing very well in attack to be playing such good field position.
Newton. Martin Bella met and greeted by Rodney Howe, but still able to get it away. Serdaris, oh, magic ball! Polla-Mounter plays it now. Dean Pay. Dymock tried to catch and pass in one motion. Darren Smith to play it. Serdaris. Very clever man with the ball in his hands. Bella back to Lamb. Lamb kicks. Dallas read it. He comes down the ground quickly, but it beats him to the line.
Oh, that's just great vision. Unfortunately, the bounce didn't favour Canterbury, but Terry Lamb, he just looks over there, sees there's no one at home for Newcastle, knows the speed of Dallas, and if the bounce had favoured him, they'd have been hell-bent trying to stop him from scoring.
Full marks to the kid too, out in the wing. He read what his captain was up to. Newcastle, I know for a fact they regard Canterbury as more than just another member of the Winfield Cup. They consider Canterbury to be a definite grand final side.
Well, I think everybody does these days, Ray, and for mine, Newcastle really are struggling with their outside men. Brad Godden has been caught out a couple of times. He's normally a fullback playing on the wing at the moment. Both Tony Kemp and Michael Hagan just struggling in defence as Johns nearly gets through the front line. Canterbury out wide, running at will.
They've played 6 times, these two clubs, since Newcastle joined the league in 1988, and it's been 3 apiece. As they go to the air now, off the boot of Matthew Johns, it's a bad kick, bouncing down and away for Darren Smith. 3 times they've met at Belmore. Canterbury have won 2 out of the 3. And there's been some infamous events happen in those games. Peter referred to one of them earlier, the Terry Lamb drop goal. Canterbury 12-10 down, went for the drop goal and made it less than 11. Rodney Howe is off, and taking the field for Newcastle now is Adam Muir. And I think in another match, Canterbury played Newcastle. Steve Folkes got sent off after a short time. I think it was against Newcastle, and they beat them with 12 men. Now, Canterbury cough it up. Newcastle's Brad Godden goes away with it.
Well, that's Adam Muir's first touch of the football, and not one that he will be happy with, and that really sums up the Newcastle performance to date. 3rd and 4th tackle on the fringe of the ruck, the big men dropping the ball, taking all the momentum away from the Knights, and that's what their game is based on, getting forward and opening up some room for their backline.
Polla-Mounter. 45 metres away for all the scrums. Nothing happening in that department to tell you about. It's Newton. It's a fairly low scrum count by the same token. Bella. Turning it around the back. Dallas was given a bad pass. Tony Kemp tries to capitalise and advance the football for Newcastle. He's about 8 metres into opposition territory as Adam Muir comes in and takes a power run up, but Darren Smith meets him and puts him to ground. McCormack away for Johns, and now for Harrigan. Bella tried to put a shot on Harrigan. McCormack away for Johns, and he gets a pass on to O'Davis. They're midway between the 20 and the halfway. Now Boyd looks inside for Butterfield. Takes the tackle, promotes the ball back for McCormack. And the Newcastle hooker is put down with nowhere to go. 6-0 still the score in favour of Canterbury as it goes out the back for Martin. He's pulled down though by Darren Smith over the top of Terry Lamb. 25 out, this is the last. Johns puts the grubber kick in behind. Dallas has to go back and cover it up. Goodwin.
And that was the best set of 6 we've seen from Newcastle in the game. Worked it through. A nice little kick there, put some pressure on Dallas. The boot of Matthew Johns. Now the test is how easily Canterbury are going to get out of this danger area. That's 3 tackles. They've come 20 metres.
Dean Pay. Serdaris. Terry Lamb. This is the last for Canterbury. They're about 32 metres out from their line. Goodwin getting a kick in. Just looking at Jason Martin. He went for a charge down. He almost finished up with a mouthful of football boot. Hagan. Here's the kick. Ooh. And Goodwin thought that he did catch him right in the face. In fact, I think he did. Now, Paul Harragon. Boyd. This is their last again. They might put it through the hands here. Johns, if that was the plan, they were too slow in doing it. Martin put a kick over. A Newcastle player has been felled following the play down the ground. Harrigan looked at both his touch judges before he said play on, and Serdaris is put down 10 metres short of the halfway. Lamb. Dymock. Newton. Darren Smith. Knocked down by Jason Martin, so it's going to be a scrum to go down, so Canterbury will get the football 8 metres into Newcastle's area. 6-0 in favour of Canterbury. Polla-Mounter coming over to feed the scrum. Lamb. Connolly's with him. Connolly wrestled into the ground 30 metres away from the Newcastle line. Doolan. He's doing a good job on the wing for Canterbury these days. He's holding Jason Williams in the reserve grade. Dymock. Centre of the ground, 30 metres out. Serdaris floating it back to Bella. Polla-Mounter. Lamb, the run around, the number 7 gives it to Mitch Newton. Newton offers the pass, it's gone to ground, and a scrum will go down 20 metres away from Newcastle's line.
He's forcing the pass here, Mitch Newton. He's a very good ball playing forward. On that occasion trying to get one around the back. Up with a few errors, Canterbury with the football.
Ainscough in from the left wing, taking the first play out. Hagan. Look at that solid shoulder there of Martin Bella.
Well, just critical of the attack of the Newcastle side with the fact that they're hitting the balls too flat. They've got such big men, but they're not getting back and running onto the football, and it's making it much easier for the markers, especially for Canterbury, to get out and come up with a tackle. The balls come loose. Martin Bella again coming over the top. Jason Martin, he's still recovering from that kick he got from the charge down. He makes a mistake here. There's Bella coming over. And I've got a hand coming out.
Polla-Mounter. Dallas out and away from the first tackle, and now 32 metres out from the Newcastle line on the second tackle. It's a good opportunity here for Canterbury. Bella, by taking that narrow blindside run, has opened up the park now for the Canterbury back line. They are wide and deep. Polla-Mounter out for Terry Lamb. Lamb finds Connolly. Connolly slammed down. Middle of the ground, 25 metres out from the Newcastle line. Now it's with McCracken, the other centre. Dallas offered him a decoy. The pass goes to ground. Doolan comes back towards the centre of the ground. This is the last. Serdaris, Lamb, deciding that they go to the air. It's very high. The runner's down on top of it, but Robbie O'Davis over and above all of them.
Good take there from O'Davis. Set his sights on it, came in on the run. A pretty good tackle from Paul Doolan after catching it. But that's great work from the fullback, not a tall man. And here's Paul Doolan, good front on defence. That's better momentum there from Muir coming onto it, offloading to McCormack. You have to take a leaf out of Marty Bella's book. As Canterbury come up with the mistake. He's having a wow of a game out there, almost saying to the Australian selectors, well, you had no right not to pick me. The big man's made a lot of yards in this game.
Glanville.
Let him go right away.
And Newcastle looking to catch the Canterbury defence offside from the scrum, holding the ball at the back there, waiting for the lock forward or the second rows to break prematurely.
This is O'Davis. Harragan. Driven back by the defence. That was a very good tackle there by Jim Dymock. A bit of help there from Martin Bella. It might have even been the reverse.
But again, Paul Harrigan not hitting the ball with any great venom. Much easier when he hasn't got the momentum to be able to come up with a tackle like that. Eventually the pass back to Muir, not taken. Canterbury have been down this end of the football field for almost the first 30 minutes of this game.
Terry Lamb. Centres putting it together. McCracken just ankle tap there by Tony Kemp. Terry Lamb, never say die attitude. Now Connolly. Connolly's put down. McCracken's back in the line. He wants it on the blind. They go open side. Polla-Mounter looks out wide, looking for Dallas. Takes the tackle of Robbie McCormack. Played on the 20-metre line. Serdaris' pass is a horror. Darren Smith is with it. He goes back towards the centre. Brushes away from a couple before being put down. Some of the passing today for Canterbury would not be pleasing Chris Anderson. Terry Lamb, Polla-Mounter ducks under a tackle before being tackled in a similar place to where Terry Lamb was the previous play. Serdaris, Bella across and turning it back inside for Jim Dymock. Dymock put down 12 metres from the line, and this is the last tackle coming up for Canterbury. Terry Lamb wants it. Is he going to use it through the hands? He puts the grubber kick in. O'Davis has trouble with it, but he puts a hand on it.
Well, you wonder how long they can hold on here. Canterbury applying so much pressure, and if there is to be one criticism of the Canterbury performance, is their passing has been a little bit flamboyant on occasions. O'Davis under a lot of pressure there, forces the ball.
Line drop out from Matthew Johns. Jim Dymock is back with it from on the 40-metre line, so Canterbury have come up with the ball in good field position off the drop out. Dean Pay makes good yards, valuable stuff. No marker, another 10, another 12 metres. So Dean Pay has taken them 22 metres down the ground into this attacking position. Lamb tries to get in behind them. He's put down a good tackle over the top there by Michael Hagan. It was Matthew Johns. Now through three sets of hands. Out wide for Dymock. Dymock puts the kick in. And O'Davis comes away for Newcastle.
Any time that Jim Dymock has taken the wrong option, they had plenty of tackles up their sleeve. Not a great deal of support outside once he put the kick through, and O'Davis cleaned up fairly easily. With only a couple of minutes out to half-time, Newcastle, well, I think it's a miracle that they're only trailing by 6 if they can hang on to the break.
Boyd. Harrigan. That time he wound up a bit more strongly. Martin. Doolan carries it back off the 10-metre line. Goodwin will be forced to take it out unless he uses young Brett Dallas. Gaze himself. Every time he touches the ball, there's a little touch of class comes out.
He's got great acceleration as he gets out of dummy half so quickly. Always takes the marker by surprise.
He's almost contemptuous, some of the things he does with his opposition.
He's very nonchalant about it, isn't he? He just makes it look easy. Pick up sometimes one-handed in the dummy half position as Bella again crashes into 2 or 3 defenders. He does everything at speed, which sometimes goes against Luke Goodwin. from the fact he sometimes comes up with a mistake in a pressure situation.
10 metres out now from the Newcastle line. Michael Hagan. 100 games today in the top grade consecutively for the Newcastle club. He's been there for their entire Winfield Cup history.
And I think I'm right in saying, Ray, that he's never played any other grade but first grade.
That's an incredible achievement. 100 consecutive first grade games. It may have had a punctuation mark when he was declared unavailable through origin duty. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. Luke Goodwin carries it back. Glanville is the tackler. Connolly looks like he's swapped into this Canterbury side very quickly to me.
They're going to be a great centre combination. Connolly and McCracken. Very different styles, but very effective in what they do, both in attack and defence. And again down this side, Dallas is in some, well, nearly in some space. Going to be having a lot of success down the left side of the field.
Dymock, Serdaris, Bella. Through a mountain of work, Bella, and promoting the ball. McCracken said, I'll give it here. Oh, no, I won't. There's too many of the enemy there. Went back the other way, and then a hospital pass was given for Polla-Mounter. Serdaris comes away. There's a show of the skills of Serdaris. I know it was taken by Jason Martin, but Jimmy Serdaris is good with the ball in his hands. Gee, there's some walking off the mark in this game that's gone unchecked. Jason Martin then, it was a blatant walk off the mark.
We've seen one penalty in this game awarded for not touching the football. Again, Robbie O'Davis played that football there, nowhere near touching it with his foot.
It's interesting to see which way this ruling goes here. O'Davis, I thought the ball projected off him. But referee Harrigan's allowed play to go on. Now it's across with David Boyd. Boyd promotes it across now. This is Adam Muir. Muir is 35 metres out right in the centre of the park. This is the last tackle. In fact, there's no need for any more. Harragon acknowledges the half-time siren. And Canterbury lead Newcastle just the one try. They had by far the better of it, though. They lead 6-0, and I would imagine David Way to be pretty happy with that half-time score. We'll see more in just a moment.
6 leading the Newcastle Knights 0. One try scored by Terry Lamb. Repeating the score, first grade Hyundai Bulldogs 6, Newcastle Knights 0.
Plenty of bright attacking football in the first half here at the Belmore Sports Ground, but only that Terry Lamb converted try. The difference between the two sides, 6-0 in favour of the Bulldogs over the Knights. The reason they're not leading by more is the handling errors. They've nearly matched Newcastle in that department. A lot of times the last pass has gone to ground, crucial times. A lot of missed tackles for Newcastle, 17-10. Possession certainly favouring Canterbury. They'll be disappointed that they're only leading by that 6-point margin. Newcastle will be buoyed by the fact they still are within touch.
Newcastle will running into the breeze. Just a breeze that's coming across the ground that will favour Canterbury slightly in the second half.
That did show the domination of Canterbury in that first half, didn't it, Ray? The fact that this breeze is fairly strong, yet all the play was down in the Newcastle 20-metre area.
Yeah, I made the point at the half-time break that David Waite, even though down 6-0, I guess in a funny sort of way he should have been happy, because they could have been behind by goodness knows what, 12 points each.
Hyundai, Canterbury 6, Bulldogs 6, Newcastle Knights 0.
People in Perth with us. As Ainscough restarts, and Lamb immediately sends the English import Gary Connolly back to be met by Matthew Johns. 6-0 in favour of Canterbury. That's all we had in the first half, with a Terry Lamb try. Put down. And that's Robert Relf that's on there for Canterbury and jumper number 40. Chance here for Newcastle very early. In the second half, they win the scrum. Tony Kemp goes straight ahead. Luke Goodwin went high. Underneath was Terry Lamb. Martin across for Hagan. They put a decoy runner inside, and Harrigan is tackled about 12 metres out from the line. McCormack, Martin, Johns, Muir. Centre of the park, they're 15 out. Still a couple of tackles left on this set. Johns, Glanville's with it. I don't know that he expected to receive it though. He had no momentum at all. McCormack, Johns, Martin. Round the back pass for O'Davis, that's 5. So everything Newcastle has done so far, Canterbury has been able to shut it down. Now they stack the blind side, the kick goes into the end goal. Goodwin watches it closely, lets it go.
No great deception there from Newcastle. They had 18 players on the blind side. They kicked just a little bit too long, trying to get another set of 6 back, but Goodwin did very, very well.
Martin Bella leaving the field, just clutching at the back of that left leg, indicating a hamstring. He's got it already fairly heavily taped, but I just fancy the injury he's clutching at is a bit higher. Dymock sits on a flat run. A run that straightened up the attack, and now they go further to the left for Robert Relf. Rushes through one pretty feeble attempted tackle. McCracken, Lamb, Darren Smith. 5 gone now for Canterbury. Lamb is to the right. Uses the little chip over the top. I think Newcastle expected a bigger offering from Lamb. A little bit of urgency there for Newcastle. O'Davis is put to ground by Connolly. And they're 18 metres out from their own line now, Newcastle. Ainscough. Michael Hagan. President's Cup went to Newcastle earlier today, and the reserve grade was a corker of the match, 18-all.
Paul Harrigan hitting the ball up. Hasn't been as effective in attack as we'd have liked, but defensively he's leading the way for Newcastle. 23 tackles already. That's being matched by Darren Smith. Played a lot in the centre for Canterbury. He's in the second row today. He's got 24 up. Both the back rowers working very hard.
Jason Martin pushing it deep, 10 metres out from the Canterbury line. Young Brett Dallas comes away. Harrigan, was he favouring that right leg a little bit? Jason Smith is on the field in 25 for Canterbury, the brother of Darren. They would be packing into the second row together, I'd imagine. This is Jim Dymock. 5 metres into Newcastle's area. Dean Pay turning it inside for Robert Relf, who takes the tackle and gives it back for Dean Pay, and he's given it to Newcastle's Jason Martin. So the Novocastrians come away from midway between 20 metre and halfway with Ainscough. Adam Muir. Not much offering here from Newcastle. They've had a few opportunities to break Canterbury. Now Harrigan, I said to you, I thought he was favouring a leg, and I think he is. Butterfield goes on.
They're confining themselves, Newcastle, in what they can do, because they're not getting any options. When the forwards are hitting up, they're only going one side of the ruck, and that makes it very easy for the defence to read. And they do a very good job in that area, getting a lot of people going. As Jason Martin drives one down. Luke Goodwin, well taken, good chase there, led by Tony Kemp.
Scamper away from dummy half for Brett Dallas now. Made his Origin debut in Origin 3. He won't forget the night in a big hurry. But fortunately for him, he was on a winning side, and it must be easier.
He's the youngest Queenslander who played State of Origin football. That first run he had won't be his last.
That's right. Jason Smith plays it. Dymock goes up the centre, gets the pass away for Darren Smith. Linking up is Connolly. He draws the defence, may have passed a fraction early. Robert Relf will play the ball. 25 metres out from the Newcastle line. Jim Serdaris gallops into vacant pasture, fends off one, gives it to Polla-Mounter. Canterbury score. Classic try. That's rugby league. Great stuff.
Yeah, tremendous work, great support play. Gary Connolly up the centre of the ruck. Relf did well to be there, but the speed of the play, the ball was the important thing, and Jim Serdaris picking the right way to go. You'll see that there's only one Newcastle defender to beat. There's beautiful work here by the Canterbury players up the middle of the ruck. Here's Connolly. Yes, he did pass too early, but that allowed him to stay alive to a certain extent. Look how quickly that ball is played. We go that way, there's only Jamie Ainscough Beach. As we freeze it there, you've got one defender, two defenders. These are the next closest defenders over here, and plenty Canterbury support. The pass back inside now to Polla-Mounter, and it was all too easy. Look at the Canterbury jerseys there in support, 3 or 4, but it was set up by the speed of the play the ball, and this man, Jim Serdaris, realising where the weakness was in defence. Polla-Mounter, he's had a great game again this afternoon. Takes it around, improves the position under the post, turns a 4-pointer into a 6.
Goalkeeping duties being made fairly simple for Luke Goodwin today. He's right in front. 10 metres out and no mistakes on offer. Canterbury enlarging their lead. 12-0 now.
It's a very confident side that can make a bust and turn and find 2 and 3 defenders in support. Attackers in support, I'm sorry. And Canterbury so many times this afternoon. The last pass has gone down on occasions, but every time there's been a lot of Canterbury support there.
Jamie Ainscough is being assisted from the field. Bella has done a hamstring and won't be back, and Harrigan has a corked thigh muscle. They are the reports from the dressing rooms, and Ainscough is now being chaired off the ground. He was walking, but apparently it got worse. And Newcastle have sent State of Origin player Adrian Brunker into the game. It's crazy how different selection panels have different ideas of people, isn't it? Darren Smith. Some people might think you can't play as well as others. Well, that's the way it is, isn't it? Terry Lamb. Godden off his own 20-metre line. He has O'Davis with him, but Connolly and Dallas, they kept talking. They kept communication lines open to make the defence. Tony Kemp gets a pass away desperately for Hagan. You'll watch Newcastle now. They'll be prepared to pass the ball at any opportunity. They'll be squeezing passes, playing catch-ups.
No depth in the Newcastle attack whatsoever. Make it very easy for the Canterbury team to close them down. The marker work for Canterbury has been outstanding. So many occasions they've forced Newcastle to waste tackles.
The last coming up for Newcastle now. Davis charged down, attempt by Terry Lamb. May have just put Robbie O'Davis off a touch, and Brett Dallas comes straight back through them. Good yards for Brett Dallas. 35 out, quick played the ball. They stack the numbers on the blind side again. Forward pass a mile from Jason Smith. Is he going to penalise him?
Well, he's got to penalise him if we're going along with the rule book. That deliberate forward pass should be penalised, because that's what this was. Jason Smith trying to get the ball around the back to Polla-Mounter. So it's a scrum being set.
And if you're going to be trivial in some of the rulings, which we've seen earlier today, that was another case in point. Robbie O'Davis. Interesting to see how as these matches draw on, Peter, given the 10-metre rule in defence now. Now gaps and yardage are not as hard to come by. John, smart stepper of the Newcastle side. David Boyd, this is the last. Oh! A late tackle on Boyd. It'll bring the scrutiny of the touch judge and the ref. Craig Polla-Mounter is the player. I just caught it out the corner of the eye. It'll be Craig Polla-Mounter called out for the tackle on David Boyd. We'll go to the replay. Let's have a look at it. Oh boy.
He's got him around the shoulder for mine. And it's not even earning a penalty here. Referee Bill Harrigan ruling that it was touched by the Canterbury player, so we'll see a Newcastle feed. But only a stern word to Polla-Mounter and no further action.
I do think Craig Polla-Mounter's got off fairly late.
Oh, well, here's a penalty this time. Jared McCracken on Robbie O'Davis, who wants to go with a little bit. Backline movement from the scrum win from Newcastle here. McCracken ends up going high. Again, no great malice intended. It wasn't a head-eye tackle. Shoulder going up.
5-3 the penalties to Canterbury. Newcastle gets this penalty. They're on the 20-metre line, and it's young Howe. He's brought down 15 metres from the Canterbury line. Martin, Johns, O'Davis. Plenty of ball movement, but not advancing very much. McCormack away for Glanville. Glanville gets the pass away. It was touched by Canterbury. Now they've got it. And now a touch judge goes in again.
Well, we may see that one of the Newcastle support players was impeded. Craig Polla-Mounter again on the ground, somewhere involved. He's the man being called out once again in the space of a couple of minutes and penalised.
So Newcastle come back again. 10 metres out from the line. That's good work by Butterfield, but it's all been undone because they can't control the football. Played by Robert Relf. Jason Smith comes out with the ball. 18 out from their line. Newcastle have thrown plenty at Canterbury, but they've been able to repel them.
You've got the feeling that trailing by 12, it was vital that Newcastle were going to be able to convert that pressure into points. They didn't do so. They came up with a mistake on the first tackle. And now Canterbury, it hasn't been too difficult for them to get to the 40-metre line in only a couple of tackles.
Dymock. Lamb driving it deep. Davis will have to bring it back. Look at this chase from Canterbury. Not one, but in fact 5 of them down there available for duty. 10 metres out from the line. Adrian Brunker, is it? No. Yes. Brad Godden. Referees' interpretations of high tackles, they certainly differ from game to game.
Not wrong there, Ray. We've seen 2 send-off offences going by Friday night's send-off of Steve Carney in this particular game. It's Newcastle inside the 10 metres from that kick. For mine, I don't think any of them deserve the player to have left the field.
Goodwin taking the kick for line now. Canterbury in front by 12 points to 0, and young Goodwin's not happy with his line kicks today. Canterbury, any urgency in their game has gone out the door, and they've paid the penalty for it, one would see. Doolan putting it down. Paul Harragan's, I'd say, obviously not coming back into this game. Johns. Martin. Davis. Now Butterfield storms down inside the 20-metre line. Can they capitalise on this play? Hagan across, McCormack with the ball. Now Martin out the back, it goes for Davis. A cut-out pass finds Tony Kemp. Good hands by the Kiwi. Back for Glanville. Glanville is held and put away on the 20-metre line. John. McCormack. Still they're 8 metres short of the line. Canterbury numbering off. Kemp goes to the blind side. Back it comes for Johns. This must be a try. No, it's not Muir. Muir got the pass away. It's with Jason Martin now. Martin pulled down, 10 metres out. Canterbury's defence absolutely superb. Now it's away for Howe. Out it goes for Boyd. And running onto it is Butterfield now out wide, and that's the turnover.
Oh, great defence, Canterbury. They had to score Newcastle. Why they ever went the blind side 2 or 3 rucks ago, I'll never know. They had 2 players up against 5. But Muir hitting the ball looked like he had to score. Tony Kemp was involved on a couple of occasions. The scrambling from Canterbury, superb once again, but they've come up with a mistake. And Paul Doolan, who dropped the ball from the tap kick, responsible once again. Not happy Chris Anderson. Obviously.
Working the scrum, very close to the Canterbury line, and Martin's lost the ball, but it'll be a penalty against Polla-Mounter, is it? No, it's against Jason Smith for breaking too soon.
He just dropped the ball anyway. Quick tap taken. McCormack finds O'Davis up from fullback, tackled in centre field.
McCormack calls for a quick play the ball. Matthew Johns turns it out there for Martin. Martin out wide for Kemp. Kemp put down right on the 10-metre line. Back they come. Hagan, Johns. Now it's with Adam Muir. He's pulled down 12 metres out from the line, right in front of the uprights. They can go either way. Johnson is with the football. Jason Martin, he looks for an opening, but he's slammed down by the Canterbury defence of Polla-Mounter. Everywhere they go looking for a gap, Canterbury comes up and gets them. McCormack now. This is Boyd. Boyd, he's put down. 5 gone again for Newcastle. Canterbury needs to hold for 1 more. McCormack puts the grubber in. Darren Smith takes it well, and he's put away 5 metres out from his line.
Well, from side to side, Newcastle, nobody trying to make yards up the middle and put a bit of a dent in the opposition, and Canterbury reading, sliding your defence very well. They've been under a lot of pressure. They've held out. Gary Connolly hit big defence here from Muir. He was offside. This will take some pressure off Canterbury.
He's got Muir for a high shot. Let's have a look at this. See, Muir's gone for a high shot there. No argument with that, but when you compare it with others, that's when the questions start. 7-5 penalties to the Bulldogs. Smith.
One of the Newcastle players getting their head in the wrong position to make the tackle. It was Rodney Howe, still down.
Rodney Howe leaving the field, and Paul Harragon is forced to go back into the game. Brett Dallas just getting it past the halfway. Lamb, inside ball for Relf. Got it! He did get a pass away. Had me filled for a moment. I thought it was off in the hands of McCracken, but it's with Martin. Godden. Gee, this entire Newcastle attack has undergone a lot of surgery. Once upon a time you'd watch Newcastle play and it was Hagan this and Hagan that. Now it's Johns or Martin, and Hagan out in the centres. Seldom does he get to do what he does best.
I do think they overdo that play, but Ray, we've spoken about it before. If a well-drilled defence comes up against them, they handle it pretty well, and Canterbury fall into that category. It should be more a shock weapon than a backline play used every set of 6, which is just about the way it pans out for the Knights.
Doolan away from Harrigan. Pulled down by Adam Muir. Well, what do you think about Michael Hagan in the centre?
I don't think he can play the season out there. Ray's a fine player, but you can't survive in the centres without speed, and I don't think Michael Hagan is quick enough to play in the centres and match it with the other centres in this competition. His ball skills aren't utilised out there, and that's his greatest attraction to a football side.
Serdaris calls Lamb to stay alive after giving the pass from dummy half. Jason Smith gives it to his brother Darren. Darren goes across, but he runs into traffic. 5 gone. The Dogs are 42 metres out from the Knights line.
Field goal. No, Lamb going up high. Brunker in good position. And a great kick there from Terry Lamb. I thought he might have tried a long-range field goal. They're leading by 12. 13 would just about put it out of reach of the Knights, who aren't playing well enough to make up that kind of margin.
Johns. Martin. And that's a forward pass to Muir. 12-0 in favour of Canterbury. Thoroughly dominant today.
Manly 16 at Brookvale, Balmain 12. Canberra the Raiders 35, South Sydney still 0. Illawarra 24, Parramatta 0. The Gold Coast 18, Penrith Panthers 12.
Polla-Mounter. Taken by Matthew Johns. Talking of Newcastle and some of the changes they've undergone. Lamb taking it ahead towards the 20-metre line before giving it to McCracken. Unthinkable at this time last year, even later in the season, that Matthew Rodwell would not be able to make the top grade. Robert Relf makes a half break, able to stand, promotes the ball for Gary Connolly, and the Englishman puts it over the line. Welcome to Australia, Gary, and welcome to Dogs Country. The Bulldogs score through Gary Connolly. 16-0 the score now.
In the first 2 occasions Gary Connolly touched a football in this game, he made breaks. This time he scored one, and Robert Relf did all the damage. A very poor missed tackle, just one-on-one there. No great intensity in defence there. Going low, Mark Glanville. All he was ever going to do was stop him going over the dead ball line, that close. There's the bust, straight through David Boyd. Tried to position Serdaris. Nobody going high trying to wrap the football up. This man's got great evasion. He's going to be a sensational buy for Canterbury.
The boyish appearance of Gary Connolly.
The improvement that he has made over the last 2 seasons has been incredible. Really came on the British Lions tour here last year. Unlucky not to break into the test side as part of the second stringers. He had a great tour.
Jared McCracken is leaving the field. Is that Andrew Patmore? I'm not sure.
Yes, it's Andrew Patmore. A lot of first-grade experience. A lot of depth at the Bulldog club.
Goodwin with 2 out of 2 so far. Straight between the uprights. The correct goal-kicking style. The new look of goal kickers. 18-0 in favour of the Bulldogs.
Sponsored by Sydney Bathroom Furniture. Score now here, the Bulldogs 18, Newcastle 9-0.
Good memory for names and faces you have, Sterlo. You knew straight away it was Andrew Patmore. Everybody else was guessing.
As soon as I looked at the book, Ray, I knew exactly who it was.
O'Davis sending it into the chest of Lamb. And he puts it down, but Harrigan says play on. Jason Smith. There it is. I put it to you that many times it would have been declared a knock-on. Canterbury's on the warpath again. Same man again. Robert Relf. Young Brett Dallas gets the pass inside. That's still play on. Off the boot of Robert Relf and over the sideline now.
Oh, how unlucky Robert Relf. He's just set up a try for Gary Connolly, and if that ball had bounced in a kind of fashion for him, he'd have got one himself. Another bust straight up the middle. Brett Dallas did well to catch that one. Canterbury, as they've done all afternoon, willing to keep the ball alive. Relf was leading the way. McCormack did well to be the next defender there for the Knights.
On the line, forward, behind that.
There they are. 10 metres out from the Newcastle line. Tony Kemp. 12-8 the Scrums to Newcastle.
Now you're talking about Matthew Rodwell not being in the side. At the beginning of the season, you'd have said, well, there's no way that would happen. Mark Sargent has been missed most of the season through injury. I think John Schuster, who's been playing some reserve grade, will find his way back into this starting lineup for Newcastle. They missed Thrust out in the centres, and he does provide it for them.
Harragan. I believe their coach David Waite has been spending some time very recently in Western Samoa. And maybe he's found another Noah Nadruku. Well, talk about turn defence into attack. Have a look at Luke Goodwin, would you? O'Davis goes after him, pulls him down. 50 metres from Luke Goodwin. Struck in the play the ball. So that's the first tackle you're watching now. Brett Dallas will play it. 18 metres out from the line. Terry Lamb is with it. Inside ball for Polla-Mounter. Lamb. Dymock. Jason Smith. Connolly. From dummy half. He kicks ahead for himself. Scooped up by Jason Smith. He scores a try. Terry Connolly has left his mark on this game though. Jason Smith, the try scorer, 22-0.
When things are going well for you, the ball does bounce the right way, and for Gary Connolly and Jim Dymock, it did on this occasion. The kick hitting one of the Newcastle players on the foot, and Jim Dymock carrying on the great form that we've seen from him over the last couple of weeks. Here's the bust made by Luke Goodwin. Getting outside, he did well here, Davis, came up with the tackle.
And ladies and gentlemen, the official crowd figure this afternoon here at Belmore.
And here's the try scored.
235.
Dean Pay backing up, doing a good job there. Made a couple of mistakes early in the game, but up goes the hand.
Yes, Dean Pay, the try scorer. My apologies. I'll give it all the raps to Jason Smith. He'll be happy.
The guy gave them to Jim Dymock.
Pretty hard to find a smile there on the faces of the Newcastle players. Goodwin. An easy day at the office, really. 24 points to nil in favour of Canterbury.
Once again by Goodwin, sponsored by Sydney Bathroom Furniture. Now, the young Bulldogs 24, Newcastle 9-0.
Try scored by Dean Pay. As Andy Patmore comes back. And a big scoreline mounting against Newcastle now. Smith. Polla-Mounter. Darren Smith off, and Ward is on in 24. Dymock. Serdaris away, Polla-Mounter. Straight into a yawning gap, down to the 40-metre line. Newcastle eventually coming up with it.
Replacement made by
Polla-Mounter
number 24, Barry.
Maybe 24-0, Ray, but if the last pass for Canterbury had found hands, more often than not, it could have been anything, this scoreline. Probably Polla-Mounter would have been better off to go for the quick play the ball there. As Harrigan finally makes a break for the Newcastle side, makes it to 40 metres, no support.
McCormack, Johns, round the corner pass, Glanville in desperation. It seemed to come off a Newcastle hand, and the referee agrees, so the scrum will go down. 30 metres up. Bella rugged away for the day, pulled a hamstring earlier. Jason Smith now. Ward. Ladd. Dymock. Goodwin had to fly high to take the pass. Patmore it is that played it. Terry Lamb. Robert Relf. Lamb, catch and pass, one motion, then Polla-Mounter, and they're down to the 30-metre line. They're a class act. The more I see of them, they've got grand final written across them. As Terry Lamb turns it back, that's forward and recall.
The more I see of this Robert Relf, the more impressed I am as well. Coming off the bench for Canterbury, just showing what kind of strength they've got. He's done some great stuff out there. As 10 minutes here for Jason Smith. No, it's Dean Pay coming off. Professional foul, I think you'll see, called against Dean Pay. There's 6.5 minutes left on the clock, so he won't be back.
Harragon. Button. Kemp. Good work by Tony Kemp. Godden looking for support. Now back through O'Davis. It's out with Johns. No man's land is the order of the day. Connolly now in a race for the ball with Johns. Still not cleaned up. Now it is. Matthew Godden. He was in awful trouble. Butterfield. McCormack. 24-0, a whopping scoreline against Newcastle. They trailed only 6-0 at half-time. Jason Martin. Second man play for Johns. Then it bounces favourably for Godden. Polla-Mounter hangs on. O'Davis supports the ball carrier. And now they're 28 metres out from the line. But when are they going to break it? Martin. Chancy pass, it had to be thrown. Connolly having a picnic here today. Looking for support. Well, that all happened too quickly for the human eye, really.
It was either a knock-on or a forward pass.
I don't know.
whatever it was, it went against Gary Connolly and Terry Lamb, trying to combine here. There's the pass. It was ruled that Terry Lamb is pretty much knocked on.
Well, I don't know. If Terry Lamb was behind Gary Connolly and he finished up with the ball, he's offside.
Well, the referee did rule a knock on. All academic now as Newcastle win the scrum. Set move, Matthew Johns on to Brunker. That's gone forward. Everything falling apart for the Knights. And the game just degenerating now. Canterbury will go to the top of the table with St George. The Sydney Shock losers last night to Cronulla opened up that opportunity, and Luke Goodwin now coming to feed the scrum at halfback. One of the Canterbury players down on the other side of the scrum, I imagine, would be Polla-Mounter.
Yes, Craig Polla-Mounter is getting some attention on the other side of that tunnel. Goodwin. Dymock. Full time just around the corner. Jumper 24 is Ward. Dallas with a chance. The kick was good for him. Lamb's coming up in the centre of the ground. Dallas held down for an age by Brad Godden. Lamb goes himself. Throws it in desperation. Dallas picks it up. And the referee ruling the turnover.
The awareness of Brett Dallas is outstanding. The kicking game has been very astute towards his wing. First half, Terry Lamb. On that occasion, Jim Serdaris. Brett Dallas reacts beautifully to those situations. All but scored there. It's again a penalty awarded against Newcastle for not touching the ball with the foot in the play the ball.
Canterbury, a chance to make the scoreline even more embarrassing, although they're going for goal.
Here's the Newcastle player in Brad Godden getting up, pushing the ball through. Really just comes down to laziness. But with under 2 minutes to go, your side trailing by 24. Probably not going to have too many sleepless nights about it.
Well, it does happen a lot in the modern game.
Ray, I reckon it's happened 20 times out there this afternoon that have been let go.
Fatty would have probably said 60.
Well, we'll split the difference. 40's probably close to the mark. We've seen 2 penalties awarded.
But it all comes back to the urgency placed on players by their coaches for a quick play the ball. 4 out of 4 for Goodwin. This is his hardest task, and here it comes. Perfectly online. Canterbury giving Newcastle a real whacking now. 26-0 the score.
Penalty goal successful now here. The Bulldogs 26, Newcastle Knights 0.
Davis sending it down. Lamb giving it to Ward to go back. Well, only 2 teams can play the grand final. We know that. There's plenty of people, and mounting in their numbers, that believe this blue and white side will be there. "30 metres out from their own line, the seconds ticking away. Jim Dymock makes a half break down to the 40-metre line. Serdaris might have been a touch of knock on there, but now takes it away on the blind side before promoting it back into the centre of the park, and Goodwin gets a chancy pass away. Polla-Mounter, he crawled about 5 metres. Connolly links up. Trouble for Newcastle. Oh, trouble. It's double trouble as Andy Patmore goes in to score right on full time. Polla-Mounter, he crawled along the ground for about 5 metres. Patmore gets the try. Canterbury, 30-0. Watch it again. Serdaris is the man that starts it. Tell you what, it's not been far short of the man of the match performance by him. Polla-Mounter, magical stuff. Connolly continues his picnic, and Patmore, he puts the icing on the cake. This is it from another angle with Polla-Mounter. Never say die. This match isn't over, he said, and neither am I. Connolly, one of the stars of the game, has his tuppence worth. Andy Patmore's name goes into the record books. Marvellous game for Canterbury. They're never easy to give a whacking to Newcastle, but Canterbury's done that today. Back to the drawing board for the Knights, and I think this might extinguish their hopes of the final 5. Seems crazy saying that in round 11, but a lot of catch-ups to be done now. Luke Goodwin's got a very big task in front of him from there. Wide this time, that puts a tiny blemish on his record, but he loves winning. His gesture to the crowd says it all. Canterbury defeats Newcastle 30 points to 0. Great performance by Terry Lamb again. Several outstanding efforts. I ran through most of them, I think, in that last try, but Polla-Mounter was never to be denied. Nor was Gary Connolly. Brett Dallas was busy out on his wing. The forwards laid a nice foundation. Relf, when he came on, added a lot of good stuff to the forward line. So did Jason Smith. Overall, Chris Anderson would have to be happy. Newcastle, most disappointed when they had attacking opportunities. They found it hard to crack the blue and white juggernaut. And eventually it was that juggernaut that ran over the top of them by 30 points to 0. Canterbury acknowledged their Hill crowd.
A champagne performance here this afternoon by Canterbury sees them defeat Newcastle 30 points to 0. And our MMI man of the match was in everything for the full 80 minutes. Canterbury halfback Craig Polla-Mounter. Congratulations, Craig. $1,000 from the MMI insurance people. A magnificent afternoon where everything just came together. You look like you enjoy what you do so much when things are going well this side.
Yeah, we're playing well at the moment. And after Newcastle's big win last week, we thought we had to put it to them. And we did in the first half, but a few passes weren't sticking. We went into the half time and Chris Anderson told us to go forward, and that the forwards did in the second half, and we put the tries on from there.
Was that a little bit of a worry at half time with the fact you dominated the first 40 minutes but only led by 6?
No, not really, because everyone knows it's an 80-minute game and you don't win a game through the first 40 minutes. So we knew we could come out for the second half and put it on them.
They were semi-finalists last year, Newcastle. Were you surprised at how easily they capitulated in that last 40 minutes?
Well, I don't think their form has been that good this year, and they're not going too well in the competition, so we weren't really surprised, but we kept the pressure on and we did know they'd fold towards the end.
And any talk in the shed before the game, a shock loss by Norse last night gave you the opportunity to go to the top of the table. Something in the back of the minds as you ran out?
Yeah, of course, we want to be back on the top of the table. We had a couple of hiccups against Canberra and St George, but now we've strung forward on the trot again, so we're hoping to stay on the top of the ladder till the end of the season.
Mate, great game today. Congratulations for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Sterlo. I'd like to thank MMI and Channel 9 for the award. Thank you.
Well done.